Hello, how you doing? Did you not know Itchy Boots is on over there or something? How are you all? Where am I sitting?
Yeah, keep your foot on it, there you go.
I just put my ear down.
Does it feel like a year ago since we did this?
No, it's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
Where are my glasses, dear? Thank you.
It's getting old. I left mine back at the tent, not wearing glasses.
I didn't know you wore glasses.
Well, I should do, but I don't.
Why is that? Because
I can't see.
Because he's a real man.
Is it vanity?
Oh, so it begins.
Hang on a minute, are they fashion glasses?
No, I'm just a smidgen short-sighted. I had them laser back in 2005, and they were great. But the last few years, it's just getting a wee bit blurry.
That's because of your age. That's all that is.
Thanks, yes. I'm only 32.
You've had a
Dude, seriously, more moisturiser.
Go on, let's do the introduction.
So the reason I put my glasses on, I mentioned before Steph came on, a lot of the people we're being joined by on stage have done such incredible things that I want to make sure that I give them the credit they're due. So what I've got here is Bruce Smart is a former police officer who kept a promise to his mum, and he rode his GX R1000 around the world. Now a full-time YouTube content creator and the host of Brew Time. Yay! These guys are so pliable, it's great.
It's good professionals.
A year later, so after setting off, you didn't make it all the way around. You got to Argentina and then stopped. We'll come back to that.
No,
a year later,
No,
Mauritania.
you can't read. It's
Mauritania.
That's
That's
right.
right. Wait, it's the same. Nobody else knows. Isn't that right, Andy?
I didn't know actually that.
Not helpful. Moving on. A year later, we saw off again. You covered 74,000 miles through 54 countries, 442 days solo, unsupported. But I also found out that you're a former diplomatic protection officer.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of hardcore.
Yeah, the ones that are all in the news at the moment. Yeah.
Moving
They were
on.
my mates. Awkward.
Welcome to ABR. Welcome to the festival. Welcome back, my friend. How you doing?
Thank you very much. Yeah, loving it. It's good, isn't it? You enjoying it?
Can I ask you a personal question?
Oh, I see. Go on.
Are you okay? Because I heard you had a bit of a big night last night.
Yeah, it got a little bit boozy. Yeah, I think I've just started on them again now, just to sort of get through it. You've got to power through these things.
No, you don't. You come back to your tent and die quietly. That's what I do. But you know.
We were out this morning on the Sinus bikes doing the trail, so that was painful. But yeah, we got through it.
You got through it. You did, no accidents, no mishaps, no nothing.
Is Rich here? Is Richie Vida here? He broke one.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he stretched it. He jumped the bomb hole and he stretched the chain.
Sorry, he jumped the what?
There's a bomb hole in one of the circuits, and I don't know if you're supposed
A
to
few
go
of them
through
got it. Well done. Keep up.
So every time I read a little bit about you, and I'm taking that back down, all right? Every time I read a little bit about you, it goes on about a promise you made to your mum. What's that all about?
Yeah, sadly my mum passed away from cancer, but before she passed away, she was quite ill, but I moved her in to live with me. I didn't ride a bike or anything by this point. This was 2008. And just one day we were sat on my couch chatting, and Long Way Round came on the TV, and you know I'd seen it loads of times before. My mum and dad had bought me the box set for Christmas, and you know I'd watched it and thought I'd love to do that, but you know I can't do it. I haven't got the money. I've got a career. I've got a mortgage. All the excuses that we all have. And my mum just turned round and she said, "Look, you've always spoke about riding a bike. You've never done it. You've always spoke about travel. You've never done it. Don't get to my stage where you're facing the end and you regret what you've not done." And she said, "Look after those that you love, but live your life." And you hear people say this, but it really was like an epiphanal moment for me. It was just like, right, I've got to do this. So I just picked up my laptop, Googled how do you ride a motorbike, DAS came up, and that was it. I booked my DAS and passed the test literally 5 days before Mum passed away. And before she passed away, she just gave us a big hug and she said, "Promise me you'll do the trip." And the rest is history.
I actually don't think we talked about this last year, because last year I remember the interview we did with you, it literally blew by in a blur, didn't
It's a
it?
bit smutty, I think, for a change. Yeah.
Really? Just for, it's important. Consistency and reliability are important
exactly.
traits.
We've got a brand to keep.
Can you tell me or remind me what did happen in Morris? Why didn't you finish the initial? What made you turn around?
I think you were talking to, who was it you were talking to yesterday?
There's a few.
Yeah, there were one or two. But I think it's, there's a thing in like conflict resolution, is it Polaris box? Your attitude affects my attitude, your attitude affects my attitude, which affects your attitude. It's just a vicious circle. So when
It was Graham Field,
that was it. So when I sort of came down through West Africa, I was really green. I'd never been outside of Europe on a bike before. I'd never done the proper overland thing. I'd come from the police background where you are constantly suspicious of everybody because people are always trying to hide something when they talk to you in that job. So I was always on the sort of suspicious back foot all the time, and your risk assessment's going through the roof. And obviously you'll know Africa is a different world, isn't it? It's just a different world. And I was in the wrong mindset, I think, to combat that, dealing with all the checkpoints and, I said robberies at the time, but it wasn't robberies. The police stop you with guns, don't they? But that's just what they do, and they just want money. So I'd had that continually, loads of times, all through Mauritania. I snapped the frame on the bike. I nearly died of heat stroke because I was wearing a leather suit in the Sahara. Don't do that, it's not a good idea. I had no water, I had no food. It was just all my fault. It was a cluster. So by the time we got to Rosso, the Rosso border, I got set up in a scam and got taken by a gang for a bit. And
You're talking about the ferry, aren't you?
the ferry that goes over to Senegal.
Yeah. Sorry. Told myself.
So I got taken by a gang in hell for a little while, and they just want money off you. And by the time I got through that, I think mentally I was just fried. So I made the decision. There's a wee bit more to it, but I'll not get into it here. I had enough money that I thought I could get to South Africa, but then I'd probably be out of money now. Or I thought I'll have enough to get back to the UK, get back to work, do some overtime, save a bit of money, and then hopefully go again. And as it turned out, I went back to work, and I managed to pick up a sponsor out the blue. So that allowed me to go again.
I mean, that's actually quite a ballsy story in as much as there's so much that goes into planning a trip, not only in terms of logistics, but just aspirations and expectations.
Yeah.
I think you have to have a certain type of strength to actually get as far as you went and actually go, this actually isn't the right time, or I'm not in the right frame of mood, or I think I need to reset and head back. I think that's a huge strength of character, and I mean that genuinely.
I appreciate that, thank you. I've often said now, my philosophy now is just, if there's something you want to do it. Like, you move heaven and earth, but it's you. No one's going to do it for you, it's you. You just never give up. There's going to be obstacles, there's going to be, no path is ever A to C. It's always A to B to Z to Y to P. You just have to keep going and focus on where you want to go, and you'll make it happen. If it's what you want to do, you will make it happen. It might not be as quick as you want it to happen, but if there's something you want to do, just keep going.
So the second time, when you attempted it the second time and completed it, what would you say you changed? Your attitude, your expectations,
I was of the mindset now of what will be, what I just said, what will be, just keep going, never give up, just keep going. And I think I'd really relaxed into it. I think being given the opportunity to go again and realising that, I nearly lost that dream, and now I had the opportunity to go. It was like, well, bugger it, I'm going to make this happen.
Were you cognizant that you were dealing with people that you've met, like the guys at the border, because they were probably the same guys?
Yeah.
Were you cognizant that you were dealing with them differently?
Definitely.
That you had changed?
Yeah, definitely. Because I noticed, that I find dehydration, like if I've not had by that I mean water, if I've not had enough water, I get really hangry, I get really irritable, food as well, obviously. So I learned that if I was going to get to a border, I need to make sure I've got plenty of water available and I've had something to eat, because otherwise I'm just going to be an arsehole. So, like, if I'm an arsehole, they're going to be an arsehole back to me. So you just have to just chill and go with it, don't you?
In those moments, I think it's really important when you become an arsehole to look forward and actually realise that you can jump the bumhole.
Like it.
So,
Always jump the bumhole.
That needs to be a t-shirt for next year.
It's gonna be, don't worry.
Everybody here's going to buy one. Did you jump the bumhole?
Andy, don't you dare make that.
see, he's already doing it.
Yeah.
So you obviously did a bit more planning as well, and so did you wear your leathers the second time?
I did, yeah. I wore the leathers the whole way round, still got them. Yeah, still got them.
Do they have a life of their own now?
They are pretty horrendous. My wife will not allow them in the house. They live in the garage and that's it.
I remember one time when we lost so much fluid and therefore so much salt.
Yeah.
We took our riding gear off and it physically all stood on its own.
Yeah.
We'd lost so much salt, the trousers were rigid, the jacket, and these obviously weren't leather, we literally just put down and it just stood there.
Yeah.
And the smell.
Mine are still standing. Yeah.
Are they seriously?
Oh yeah.
They're not on a hanger or anything.
They're just
Shouldn't
there.
there be some kind of weird museum that wants to accept those?
I don't think they would take them.
I think he wants them, look. His leathers.
Too big.
It's too big.
Oh, that was hard.
Yeah.
So, and then
True.
with all your podcasts, etc. But one thing I did pick up on now, you're running motorcycle tours with
Chicken strips.
Chicken
yeah.
strips.
Mhm.
Where
Yeah,
are
I
you
do
going?
them. I do them with Simon Weir. He wrote Bikers Europe, Bikers Britain, all this sort of stuff. So I've been filming a few vids with Simon recently. I've had him on a podcast, and we just thought, well, you know, I've got the following, he's got the expertise. So we teamed up on the tours, and yeah, we started them last year. This year's the first full year, and it's going well, really well.
Where do you go?
We do the usual in the UK, so Scotland and Wales. We're doing a wee bit in the east of England, but we've just come back from the Picos. We were in Luxembourg, Black Forest at the start of the year. A bit too early, it snowed, that was bad planning. And we're off to...
Who does the planning?
Well, that one was Simon.
So it's not your fault.
Yeah.
That it's important to know when to defer blame and responsibility.
He said March, but he meant April. But he didn't realise that till end of March, so never mind. And then we're going to the Alps as well.
And you've also been doing some around our area, but you've not yet dropped in for a cup of tea.
I haven't, as you
Yeah,
know.
TeapotOne.
I'm sorry, I do apologise. It's busy at the moment, real busy. If anyone follows the channel or listens to the podcast, I've been a wee bit... there you are.
Hang on. I am really sorry for anyone that follows the channel. That was your fault, whoever made that little noise over there.
The beer's in the post, good luck. I've been a wee bit bad with vids in the podcast. The podcast has had to sort of halt at the moment, I just haven't got enough time.
So,
I've got to be honest, was your favourite podcast the 100th edition?
It was, yeah. Was that the one that you guys were on?
I don't remember. Was it? Well,
yeah, I enjoy the podcast. I like to chat, so yeah, I enjoy doing the podcast. It's good.
so who have you got coming up soon on your podcast?
Oh God.
you have not got him. No way.
That
That is a big deal.
I'm trying to think. I'm just starting it up at the moment. Who have I got coming on? I've just done one with. Oh God, mind blank. Who have I just had on?
You give him
This
a
is
microphone.
awkward.
This is why you don't drink the night before. It's okay. It's not like there's anybody here, Bruce. No pressure.
I just did it on Wednesday night. Who was it? Oh God. It'll be out on Wednesday anyway. Sorry, I can't remember.
This is authentic and real. You can see this is not rehearsed. We didn't have this with Missing and Flying, just saying.
Yeah, he's a professional. What can I say? Andy needs to do my admin. Would you mind?
Can we circle back?
Yeah.
You could have just made a name up.
I can't think of anyone at the moment.
Itchy
Are you guys coming back on?
Sure, yeah, we'll do that.
Norley will not answer my emails. Where are you, Norley?
She's only just over there,
I know,
so
I
just
know.
go and grab her.
I'm too embarrassed to go and meet her.
Why?
Well, it's Norley, isn't it?
But
Oh,
you're
you
a social
starstruck.
media
Yeah, just a
person.
bit. I'm like that with Joe McGuinness. I cannot say hello to Joe McGuinness.
What?
I know. He's the nicest bloke ever. I can't
But
say
you're
hello to
doing
him.
the interview with him this afternoon, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I wish. It wouldn't be much of an interview, it'd just be me going, it's John.
Do you know,
I've got a confession to make. I'm a little bit the same way. Not only with John, but Cyril Dupre.
Oh,
I've never met the guy, and I've got to remember to get on stage, and the first thing I mustn't do is just go, I'm not worthy!
Do it.
It has crossed my mind.
yeah, you're going to be sitting here doing the interview and you're going to be like,
Hi.
That's going to be an interesting one. Simon with nothing to say.
Wow, I might come and watch that.
Do you find that, I mean, I know you two, when you get together, you've got verbal diarrhea. Do you find that you go off on tangents and when you're doing podcasts and things that you have too much to edit out, or do you not bother like with us? You just let us ramble.
I don't edit at all on the podcast.
That's not what you told us before we started.
No, I said if there's anything you don't want included, let me know, and I might be able. But you never said anything, so it all went in. Yeah, the podcast is just conversation. It's just, and there's often beer involved anyway, so yeah, you might get somebody on because they're an expert in something, but you start chatting and you just have a conversation with people. Aliens, UFOs, ghosts, they normally come up.
I think we went on about the evil of social media,
We
didn't
did,
we?
yeah, we did.
Oh,
Yeah.
We went off on one.
That came back to bite us in the bum, didn't it? Should we ask? Has
I've
anybody
got
got any
I
questions
know.
for Bruce that you would love to ask? Please don't
Fire
be
away.
shy.
There we go.
I
Watch this.
really like him.
Live in North Wales.
Oh, I
She's
should
a
talk.
weasel keen.
Hi Bruce, new
Hi there.
clan member.
Thank you very much.
Live in North Wales. Obviously, I think we've got some fantastic roads there.
Yep.
Where's your favourite place in the UK to ride?
In the UK, I'm going to say it, and it's not because I am Scottish, but Scotland. Definitely. You can't beat it. You just can't beat it. Northwest Scotland, just mind blowing. Mind blowing.
I was going to say whereabouts.
Yeah, I love
Northwest Scotland.
Sutherland up the top there, which is gorgeous.
Yeah, but you've been to Wales as well, haven't you? Just recently.
Wales is good. Wales is good, and I did think it would be a close one, but I went up there recently, and I was like, nah, this wins. This wins. Sorry, Welshies. Sorry, Druids. Apologies.
We're going to set Steph Jevons on you later on.
Good afternoon, Bruce.
How you doing?
Welcome to the ABR.
You all right? I heard you had a little bit of a dint. You okay?
Yeah, fine. Yeah. I only got it on camera.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. You used to be sponsored by Beard Spunk.
Yes.
Do you still
I
wear
wasn't
Beard
sponsored by
Spunk?
it. I wasn't sponsored
Alright,
by
do you
it.
still wear Beard Spunk?
No, I use Bra Beard Oil now. So any beardies in the house, they're a Scottish company, and I use their Bra Beard Oil. Beard Spunk. Yeah, genuinely, it used to be called Beard Spunk.
Oh my god, I'm trying to work it if we do. Do we have any children in the audience?
Beard Spunk and Bondos. Bomb.
But not really.
Sorry.
Where's Lisa?
Hi Bruce,
How you doing?
fit like?
They want you like yourself.
Good.
Mhm.
You're putting the jigsaw back in the road.
I am. Yes.
What-
Yes.
What's the plan? What's the time scale? Is it going back original or?
It's going to be the original GSX-R1000 I took on the trip. She's just been sat since about 2015. Well, in fact, the first overland competition, but that was the last time I rode the bike, 2015. So I actually had a freak meeting with the original mechanic that used to work on that bike. The dealership has since closed down, but we got back in touch, and I said to him I want to get the bike back on the road. So he came round last month, I think it was, had a look at it, put a booster pack on the battery, and she fired straight up. No issues at all. So this great massive rebuild we had planned will probably be done in about 2 episodes, I think. So he's doing a full service end of this month. I'll take it for a spin, he'll take it for a spin, and then we'll look and see what else needs doing. But I reckon certainly, probably by the end of the summer, she should be back on the road. Can't wait. Cannot wait.
Are you asking because you want to have a go on it?
Never.
Okay, got another question here.
Where's she gone?
Here I am.
Yeah.
Hello.
Thank you.
No worries. Do you need glasses?
Yes.
You don't need the glasses for the question. Sorry. Question for, I suppose, most of the YouTube, popular YouTube people.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to kind of mentally psych yourself up to come to an event like this? and not be able to walk from the toilet to your table to the bar without 30 people going, Bruce, Andy, hi, how's it going?
I love it. You know, I think you don't do something like social media like YouTube unless you quite like the attention. It's nice to to meet the people that are spending their time watching your vids. It sounds corny, but I think Andy will agree. We've definitely managed to grow a really nice community just through YouTube in particular. So it's nice to meet people and you see the same faces a lot of the time. So yeah, I love it personally. Yeah. Sometimes you have to go, I really need the toilet. And when people come up and say hello when you're at the toilet, that gets a little bit awkward.
Okay, got another question
How you
here.
doing?
Sorry, I'm just running from the back. Bit of a two-parter. So you went back and did your trip. What was the sponsor that saved you? Question one. And question two, if you could choose any sponsor to help you support you for the next year, what would that sponsor be?
Oh wow. The sponsor that came on board was a company called Delta Energy Services. Nothing to do with bikes. They're an oil company basically, and the guy who is the UK CEO was bike daft. So he just came up to the NEC. I was on the Bridgestone stand actually at NEC, and he just came up and he said, "Look, we've been following your trip. What's happening?" So I told him. And he said, right, we're looking for a marketing vehicle for our 25th anniversary, and I think it's you. Can we have a meeting? So we had a meeting, and they put an amount on the table that would basically get me to Australia, so that was it. Away. Second one, ideal sponsor. Brewdog. No, I don't think I'd be able to ride if Brewdog sponsored. People send this to my house. I don't know who.
Oh dear!
It's great. It's a great position. But I get crate loads of it from Amazon. Just turn up at my house, and I have no idea who sends it. So
You do?
thank you. He wouldn't send me anything. Not a chance. Ideal sponsor. I don't know. Like sponsors. I don't know what anyone else that's got sponsored channels and stuff thinks. Sponsors are difficult. I think you really have to find a very nice.
I was going to say,
relationship
do
with
you mind if I just skew the question or add on to this question? Because A, it's a great question. But if money was no issue, and it is for all of us, do you actually think in a lot of ways it's better to go out and have this journey without any sponsors?
100%.
Because then there are no commitments.
Definitely.
Is that a better idea?
Yeah, if you can possibly fund it yourselves, do that. Just do that and take your time. I always say I hate having regrets, but I do wish I'd spent longer in certain places and done things. I made crazy decisions like, there's Chichen Itza over there. I could probably come back and see that with the missus, just fly back and do it. So I didn't go there, and now you can't get there, can you? I think it's stopped. And you're like, you idiot. So it's like, I could go up that path.
Machu Picchu.
Maybe that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah. Or like there'll be, the road less travelled or something. I looked at it and thought, oh, that looks like that could be fun. But then the other part of you goes, or I could just keep going and get to this place tonight, and I did sometimes. So I'll definitely say to you, if you're going on a trip like that, make every opportunity of every turn of every junction and just explore. And if people say to you, please come back to my house, do it. Do it. Who knows?
Do you think it's fair to say some of the very best memories you have of your journey are the ones where had no plans, all your ideas went out the window, but it also meant you had no expectations and just went with it and did what you just said?
Yeah, when you
Enjoy the moment.
when you get lost, when you run out of fuel, when they get a puncture, when the bike breaks down, whenever anything what you think is bad happens, that's when the adventure starts, and that's what you're going to remember. Whether you're on a trip to Wales, whether you're going to Scotland, whether you're going to South Africa, whether you're going to Antarctica, it's when it goes wrong, when the trip comes alive, and that's what you're going to remember.
Okay, I got a question here from Mark. Right at the back. Do you know what? I'm not that bloody small. Alright.
Is that Mark from near Leeds?
It is.
Oh, Mark from near Leeds. Hello, everybody.
From Leeds. Bruce, tell us your story about the candle when you were in France. That's my favourite story. That.
You are
And
a bugger.
Number 2, when you're getting me on the podcast so I can boost your ratings.
That was a brave ask.
Yeah, you're on, no problem, you're on. Right, candle story, I'll try and make this quick. First ever bike trip ever into Europe, me and 2 mates decided that we were just going to get the bikes and we were going to head to, I think, Belgium or somewhere like that, down the east of France. And one of my mates, for some reason, said, oh, we need to go to this place because it's been awarded Bon Village. He's quite posh. We were like, don't even know what Bon Village is, but okay, we'll go there. So we covered France that day. We get to this village, but we got there quite late. I think we got there like 9 o'clock. Had the old shower, went out onto the green, and there was one restaurant in this little village, big green, a restaurant at the side of it. We've gone in and it's closing. So the bloke is literally saying goodbye to people as we walk in. And we said, look, any chance, are you doing any food or can we have a beer? And he said, yeah, no problem. He said, English, you want beer, steak, that okay? Yeah, beautiful. So he sat us down, got some beers, and then he brought some bread over, and then he brought these dishes over, and then he disappeared. So we're starving, we've not eaten all day, so we're like, okay, we'll try some of this French cheese. So scooping this stuff out, putting it on the bread, eating it, and I don't think much of this cheese, it's a bit tasteless. So anyway, we polished off 3 bowls. The guy comes back, looks, and says, you want more bread? And we're like, uh-huh. And he sort of looked at the table, looked at us, went away, came back with another 3 dishes, and then he lit them. So, well, you know. It's not the worst thing
I said earlier on with a microphone in my hand that one of the great things about travelling is stuff happens, shit happens here. You could not make up. Now give me 2 seconds. I know Lisa's around summer, but this gentleman here has got his hand up. Hang on 1 sec. Where are you?
Oi.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Left.
I've got basically 1,
Jesus, you're a
2.
ninja.
I've got 1, 2, and 3 questions. I'll make you the last question. Get back on that stage.
He loves it.
You recognised the tone of voice, didn't you? To ride the world my ass.
So I will make the gentleman in the front the last question. I've got 1, 2, and 3, which we've got time for. Hang on 1 second.
Just based on the fact that you had 2 attempts originally going around the world, would you consider that with today's political climate and things that are happening throughout the world, is it more difficult to do that?
I think there are perhaps a few more obstacles in the way. You know, nothing is impossible. I think those of us that have travelled have met people who are doing trips without the relevant paperwork, which you're told you can't do, but people are doing it, or they're doing it with forged stuff, and they're managing it. I think my advice would be, if you want to do it and you're in a position to go, just go. And if you can't get into that country at the moment, go somewhere else for a while, and then, you know, try a different border maybe. I think you have to be realistic, you can't be foolhardy. You know, if there's a full-on conflict going on, probably not the best time to go into that country. But to the same extent, I wouldn't believe everything that you get fed in the media by any stretch of the imagination. You know, it's far better to have your boots on the ground yourself and see with your own eyes, and then make your judgment call then.
Yeah, that's real good advice. That's what Simon and I, sometimes when we started off into a country, it's not been in any conflict.
Yeah.
Halfway through, war breaks out or hell breaks loose, and you get all the news coming on, if the news is available.
Yeah.
And it's depicting a terrible situation, and there we are, still in the middle, riding through, and it's a bit tense, but it's not life-threatening. So yeah, boots on the ground is the best advice.
Absolutely.
So, and one question here, penultimate question.
Hi Bruce, excuse my ignorance, but I've been watching you for a short while on the YouTube, etc. And you say you're in the police force. Were you a police trained, motorbike trained rider, or did not?
I had just done my bike course for they have bikes in the diplomatic end where I worked, so I'd just done that course, and I turned up for work to do that, to be served the notice to say you're being investigated, because somebody, a long story short, someone would seen a BMW S1000 RR vid that I'd reviewed, another copper, and he decided that I was going a bit quick, so he grasped me up to like professional standards, and they didn't like me, so yeah.
So based on the fact that you've gone from that on to YouTube success, we should write to him and say thank you.
Well, I'd owe them a favour, whoever it was, I'd owe them a favour.
Huh.
Yeah, so, you know, things happen for a reason, I think.
Lisa, give me 1 second. I'm going to ask everyone's indulgence, if that's okay, just prior to this last question. Lisa and I are bloody awful at social media, so that's cards on the table. Would you indulge us with 30 seconds of your time so Lisa and I can get a selfie with Bruce and all you guys before you all scatter off to do something really cool? Would that be okay? Thank
Awesome.
you.
Nice one.
Final question.
Cheers.
I don't know what it is now. Hiya, Bruce.
How you doing?
Bit of an academic question. Adventure bikes and adventure biking are synonymous.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the lines between the two have been blurred? Because you went around the world in quite a humble machine, and this weekend we've heard from people like Ted Simon and Elizabeth Elspeth who have been, done amazing adventures on humble machines. And what would you say to people that think they need the big adventure bike with the rucker gear and the aluminium panniers to do an adventure like that?
You don't. Take whatever bike makes you happy, whatever be the little trail bike. You don't need a super bike. Whatever bike you like, just take it. Any bike will do that trip, but not any rider will. It's you that makes the difference, not the bike. It will be more comfortable on some bikes and more practical on some bikes, but you're you. Just take your bike.
Bruce, do you mind if I add something on to the end of that?
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely what Bruce has just said, bearing in mind that whatever you take on a long enough journey, every single bike is eventually going to break down. You will never hear the bike journey stopping because the bike broke down.
Apart from,
but because the rider chose to not fix it that last time.
Apart from a Suzuki GSX R1000, never broke down. I went through 4 rear subframes, but the engine never broke down. Yeah? Got shot at, got flooded, never broke down.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, I haven't even been drinking yet.
They are.
You know I'm going to take it, right? Please lift the roof for our friend Bruce, TeapotOne.
I'm doing the bar, if you want to chat. I'm going to do a pop quiz tonight. 6 o'clock, you're in office. 6:15, we're doing a pop quiz.
Give us 30 seconds because I am going to have to share this photograph for his ailing YouTube video station.
Do you know how to work that?
I have no clue, I kept getting it wrong earlier on.
Should we all moon, Bruce? Yeah. Yes, let's go virus. No, viral.
Am I going in the middle?
You gotta go in the middle. Yeah. If you can look happy. Hiya!
Look at that.
Oh, all right. One piece of video. Say hello. 1, 2, 3. Hey! You're awesome.